How are you doing, guys? It's ZedEye here. So today I definitely want to talk about this regarding of the PlayStation 5's DualSense Edge brand new upcoming controller that will be coming, I believe was 26th of January 2023. Now, I want to mention a few additional tidbits of information that has been reported about it, but also the significant part regarding of the main big problem that this controller unfortunately will face. So before I proceed to that, let's get into what this, controller and then the item itself, in the package that it will contain and all the additional things that has been already mentioned and reported upon. So it will be contained inside a beautiful wide case that contains everything securely in a shell that basically has all the accessories that you would have expected. Now it also has a removable flap where a USB cable is able to be fit in, and in fact you can even charge the controller while it's inside. So that's a very nice touch. This full item comes with a long braided USB cable that the cable has been reported on that is actually going to be lengthier than the one we originally got from the box. So this will also have two half dome back buttons, two lever style back buttons, variety of dome thumbsticks with a different heights, and also USB lock that can actually hold a USB cable into a controller and unable to be removed by accident or even by force, unless of course if you unlock it. It's a nice touch, but I don't know if it's necessarily necessary. So, unless of course it is the main thing, obviously it's the controller itself. It has the same factor of the original DualSense PlayStation 5's controller, but contains more premium build quality, such as the increased surface area for the grippy white plastic around the handles and extra texture on the touchpad and triggers. Players can actually adjust the height and the length of the triggers with built-in switch for both the R2 and L2 buttons. So the controller will also be able to have features like 3 sets of sticks caps, right, that can make a quick customization easy. Now the 2 standard caps are the same as the DualSense controller snappy sticks, while the set of the high and low dome caps offer a satisfying concave feel. On top of that, you are actually literally able to remove the cover of the controller and remove the thumbsticks overall. It's easily available to be replaced if needed, and if they break or maybe there's some kind of issues, like I said, it is replaceable. Now, I actually like this feature. This was already introduced since SCUF controllers, you capable of actually adjusting the height of the triggers. And it's always nice to have a variety for different games. For example, like Call of Duty, you want to have speed and acceleration, so obviously less time you actually spend pressing the button, the faster you will be able to kill that opponent or whatever you're doing. Now, regarding the different games, like for example Returnal, you want to utilize the back buttons, the triggers I should say, more, right? So you push it halfway through, you use a normal firing mode of the weapon. If you push it all the way through, then you use an alternative firing mode. So obviously you want to use the whole lot of this trigger. Of course, the controller also features optional back buttons. Now, the lever back buttons offer a longer, flatter form factor that's quick to activate, and the half-dome back buttons feature a low profile and precise feel. I love this. I don't believe, at least because I'm not really following a SCUF and all the kind of modded controllers that you can actually purchase, I like the idea of half-dome back buttons, and basically you will not be able to accidentally hit the back buttons that this controller has, and it's always nice to have a variety. There's also options for optimizing your playstyle, extending beyond the accessories and triggers adjustments to customize controller profiles. Quite a slick tutorial automatically will pop up when you first plug in your controller into the PlayStation 5 console. Some of the robust additional options will include up to 3 profiles stored on the controller itself, so you can have different customization and that can be saved on these profiles. Specifically could be catered towards like first-person perspective games or third-person driving games or whatever else. Now there's also custom button assignments, and like I mentioned, for the FPS or the third-person perspective games, again, could be driving, could be action games, whatever it is. There's also stick sensitivity and dead zone tuning you can actually do. That's awesome. There's going to be a trigger dead zone tuning, there's going to be vibration intensity, trigger effect intensity as well. Now there's actually been a bit of an extra mention of regarding of stick sensitivity, and this is exactly coming from the PlayStation blog. They mentioned there is a quick, just a name quick, that the amount of registered input accelerates as you tilt the stick. Good for making quick movements, gain the upper hand by quickly aiming in fast-paced shooters. And then there is precise. Minimum input is registered when you tilt the stick. Good for making precise movements. Fans of shooting games may find an ability to aim slowly and accurately helpful. And then there is steady. Registered input is limited even if you tilt the stick far. Enables smooth and stable movement. Ideal for when you need to move smoothly in the action games. And there's also digital. Tilting the stick even slightly will register nearly maximum input. Functions like the directional buttons on the controller get instant input reaction for your fighting and action games. And lastly, there's dynamic. Registered input is limited when you tilt the stick slightly or far, but accelerates in the middle range. Enables versatile gameplay in the shooting games where you may need to aim carefully but also turn quickly. I like this. There's so many options and varieties that you can go about. Now, there's also two buttons that are positioned right below the thumbsticks, providing easy access for DualSense Edge controller specific menu that pops up whenever pressed, whether in the in-game or perhaps in the system menus. Now, these buttons make it easy to snap between profiles, adjust headset volume, game and party, chat, audio balance, and more. Now, this option is quickly just to make you jump directly into the controller profile menu after a couple quick button presses is quite crucial, and it's nice, allowing you to make quick adjustments without disturbing the gameplay, as genuinely is a very nice touch. Now, these were basically the main points of the DualSense Edge and the controller. That's actually going to be worth about, what was it, $200? Like I said at the beginning of the commentary, this controller faces a main crucial problem. And yes, I'm talking about the battery life. It's been reported that the battery life have not been upgraded. As of this recording of this video, unfortunately, there's not much information to go on, but it's been mentioned by The Verge regarding the battery, and I will read this out. Sony hasn't given a figure of how long the battery life will be for the DualSense Edge, but told The Verge it will moderately shorter than the DualSense. The battery life on the original DualSense controller is around 12 to 15 hours, depending on whether features like haptic feedback and a speaker, and of course speakers are being used. And I want to report that 12-15 hours is bullshit. It's not true. Realistically, if you are playing the game constantly and maybe having a little few breaks, 6 hours is the absolute max that this controller can handle from full battery charge to 0. Unfortunately, that's just the case. I've tested it, and like if you're lucky, it can go up to 7 hours. 12-15 hours is not true. Now, of course, it can reach there, but again, that really depends how much time you're putting into a game session and how much you, of course, utilizing the controller. Sony's full statement explaining the reason for a shorter battery life is that the Edge has many more features within that will help to drain the battery life. The company has tried to strike a good balance between wireless operating time and delivering robust, high-performance features, but will provide a longer USB-braided cable for a wired connection to the PlayStation 5 consoles if players needed to preserve battery life. So that's a very nice feature. Thankfully, they actually thought about this a little bit. But I still think it's no excuse of making the same battery as it was, because, mind you, even the original PlayStation 5 controllers, they have practically the same battery life as it was on the PlayStation 4, even though it was upgraded, but it needs to be upgraded even further. So as such, paying such a premium price up to $200, it's no excuse. You could have made the battery bigger, but yeah, now I'm sure there needs to be some kind of sacrifices, and perhaps in this way the compromise could have been that the controller should have been or perhaps a bit more bulky or perhaps a tiny bit more heavier. And if that's the case, if those are the decisions that we have to make, you know, and if we have to like sacrifice just to make sure that our battery can last longer, so be it. I would rather have a tiny bit heavier controller, but at least it will last me 2 extra hours additionally. But that's just me. Do let me know what you think about the controller and overall settings and, you know, features and stuff that it contains. It does seem very cool feature for PlayStation finally to have. Alright, like and subscribe. See you guys all later, and have a wonderful day.